It was one of those cold, gray mornings when the city felt tired and people moved without looking at one another. But in the middle of that rush, at the front of a long bank line, stood an elderly woman, small, gentle, wrapped in a faded shawl she kept pulling tighter around her shoulders. Her hands trembled as she held her old debit card. Her voice was soft but steady when it was finally her turn. I, I just want to see my balance, she said. Behind her, a man in an expensive suit, one of the city's well-known millionaires, let out a short laugh, not cruel, but careless. Ma'am, you don't need to stand in line for that. And I'm sure it's not a number worth waiting for, he joked, shaking his head. A few people chuckled. She didn't. The old woman simply offered a tired smile, the kind that said she had heard worse and survived worse. She stepped up to the counter, and the teller guided her gently. No one expected what would happen next. When the printer clicked and the slip slid out, the teller froze. The millionaire, curious, leaned over her shoulder. His smile vanished. The balance showed a figure so high it didn't make sense. Not for an elderly woman who looked like she had walked miles just to reach the bank. The teller whispered, "Ma'am, are you sure you meant to check this account?" She nodded. "Yes, son. That's my late husband's fund. I never touched it. He always said, use it only if life gets too heavy." And she paused, breathing slowly. Life has been heavy lately. Silence settled around her. Even the millionaire lowered his head as he watched the woman carefully, taking in the details he hadn't seen before. The worn shoes, the tired eyes, the quiet dignity. And suddenly, something inside him shifted. He stepped forward. "Ma'am," he said gently, "you shouldn't be standing here alone. Let me help you with whatever you need." She looked up, confused. "You were laughing a moment ago, son." He swallowed hard. "And I was wrong." For a moment, neither spoke. Then he did something he hadn't done in years, something his wealth could never buy. He showed kindness. He arranged her transportation. He carried her bags. He sat with her as she reviewed her documents. She told him stories, how she and her husband built everything slowly, patiently, how they believed in hard work, honesty, and compassion. And as she spoke, the millionaire realized something painful. He had money, but she had something far more valuable: grace. When he walked her home, she squeezed his hand and said, "It doesn't cost anything to be kind, dear, but it changes everything." Her words stayed with him long after she closed her door. And for the first time in years, he felt the weight of who he had become and who he wanted to be. That day, the millionaire didn't just escort an old woman home. He rediscovered humanity, humility, and the simple truth we all forget. In a world moving too fast, kindness still matters. And sometimes, the smallest moments, the ones we ignore, the ones we laugh at, become the ones that change us forever.